DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live stream here. We are breaking down Tuesday's 13-game main slate. James, my guy, we're both wearing red shirts today.
You know what that means?
Blood?
We're seeking blood. We're seeking blood on tonight's slate, John.
Yeah. Blood for Luis Severino.
I mean,
Stroman.
There's going to be a lot of. I mean, if you look at the 26 pitchers on today's slate, there's going to be a lot of blood, and by blood I mean just runs.
Yeah, we're talking runs here.
Just runs.
For sure.
So,
so we'll get into obviously breaking it all down for everybody here today. We got the Prince in early, he says today. Usually he pops in and says, man, I'm late. He's early today.
Yeah.
Get us your FanDuel questions into Prince. We got you covered today. We'll be breaking down DraftKings, FanDuel. But of course, we start every single show talking about real-time fantasy sports. I did the RT Sports Pick'em plays of the day today. You can find those over at the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel if you want to check them out there. If you haven't yet signed up for real-time fantasy sports, go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users will get a 100% deposit match up to $200 there. If you're watching on stream, you can also scan the QR code. It'll take you all to the same place. If you're not into doing the DFS Pick'em contest, that's fine. You can also use that deposit match playing their fantasy football, best ball, and fantasy football seasonal championship contest there as well. A chance to win $25,000 there in their best ball championship. So go check it all out. rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23 for new users who will sign up. And James, it's our time of the show where we give out our favorite DFS Pick'em plays of the day. Taking a look here at the real-time fantasy sports Pick'em board here. We got a couple of plays on the slate. I don't want to steal your thunder this time around, James, so I'll let you go first today.
I mean, everyone's pick is going to be Atlanta. We are wearing red in favor of all the Atlanta Braves we're going to play today. I'm going to go to Detroit, Minnesota. I like this matchup on both sides, both offenses, rather. So I'm going to go Riley Green more than 6.5 fantasy points to kick it off. Bailey Ober's been, overrated at times lately. And he's been overrated at times, and he's been knocked around. 22 hits and 2 starts over his last 3 games, 11 hits against these Tigers his last time out. And, Riley Green is Detroit's best hitter. Him and Spencer Torkelson have been a nice 1-2 punch, I would say, in the middle of this lineup. Riley Green hitting .316 over his last 10 games, 5 extra base hits over that span. So I'm going to go over or more than 6.5 fantasy points for Riley.
All right. I won't fade the chalk. We're going to go over to Atlanta here. We're going to go more than 1.5 total bags for Matt Olson. Pretty much gets it every other day. Didn't come through last night, so come through here tonight with the home run. I would imagine 1.5 total bags going up against Luis Severino. Severino last on the season, a lefties, 475 weighted on base percentage, 701 slugging percentage against him. So hard to not just go here and just stack the board with Atlanta if you can anyways. But I'll go the Olsen route, 1.5 total bags.
Yeah, I mean,
Not much
honestly,
to add, I hear you.
I'm just shocked, Luis. The only thing I have to add is I'm shocked the Yankees continue to throw Luis Severino out there to the Wolves. Not literally to Wolves. Like he is this is as dangerous as
I said on the Better Sports Betting Show, I'm like, imagine being Luis Severino, pitching the way you're pitching, and then you're looking at the schedule like, all right, counting the days, 5 starts, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Atlanta. I'm pitching against Atlanta. This is not going to go well for me. I can only imagine that's his mindset here. It doesn't get easier for him, right? Like Ronald Acuna, Michael Harris, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Sean Murphy, Eddie Rosario was nutty last night. Ozuna.
Nicky Lopez. Nicky Lopez is like 10 hits in his last 3 games.
He's playing out of his mind. Orlando Arcia is playing out of his mind still. Like, who's the easy out? Ozuna? Is Ozuna the easy out of that lineup? I mean, that's it.
No.
That's it. So,
no. Yeah, his 205 ISO against
Yeah,
righties
that's what
this
I'm
year
saying. So yeah, give me the
is
Olsen
terrible.
1.5 bags, and I'll also add in the Rangers Angels game here. We're gonna go Seager with the 1.5 bags as well, more over Lucas Giolito. Last 30 days for which spans his 5 starts for Lucas Giolito. 452 WOBA allowed, 634 slugging percentage to left-handed bats. So, and we know Seager's been a nightmare for righties this year, almost a 400 ISO. Yeah, 3 picks are on the board. James, you got another one to add?
No, let's stick with the lefty mashers of each team
Okay.
here. I like this. Are all lefty lineup here for this Taco Tuesday
Yeah,
we have.
it's true. We got Taco Tuesday here as well. I like the over 3.5 team total for Detroit, so I'm in on the Riley Green call. I thought that was pretty good with the way Bailey Over had it in pitching. So everybody, again, that's our RT Sports DFS pick'em plays of the day. Again, if you want to check it all out, you can scan the QR code here or go to rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23 will get you a 100% deposit match on your first deposit up to $200, get you some free cash to play over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. Changing the tables, though, what everybody's tuning in here for. And if you haven't already, we appreciate you all. Get in the chat, throw your questions in here. Let James and I help you out breaking down tonight's slate, whether it be DraftKings or FanDuel. Even though we're looking at the DraftKings slate, more than happy to answer your FanDuel questions. If you're playing over on Yahoo, you can go ahead and play on Yahoo Fantasy Sports as well there. And if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hang out with us every day throughout the week. All sorts of content here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel here. Pitching, actually, Vegas. Let's go to Vegas first.
Yeah, let's not go to pitching yet. We don't want to scare people away.
I unfortunately, James, once again fell short of my priorities here. I did not make a graphic for today's Vegas totals on a 13-game slate. Apologize to everybody, especially Mark, who I know needs the visuals to learn. That we won't have the it for him. So if you could read it off slowly for my boy, we'll be good to go.
To be fair, there are visual learners out there, John.
Sure.
So it's not just Mark.
Sure.
Some people are better at taking tests than others.
That's true.
So, I was not a test taker in school. I'm sure you can.
I took notes in crayon in high school, so that just goes to show you where goes to show you where I was at. So
bringing crayons to high school is a different level. Unless you were borrowing from the teacher bringing them a different level. So yeah, let's hop into Vegas. Obviously, biggest over/under on the board, 12.5 implied runs. It is, in fact, a Coors Field slate. It is an interesting one there because Ty Blach coming off what an outstanding start that was so predictable of him just shutting down the Dodgers the last time out. That was such an amazing start by him. And he faces an opener in Joe Mantiply that over there in Arizona. Interesting game environment there. I'll lean on the over 12.5 runs in that and just peek behind the curtain because, for there to be a lean on the over, it'll be interesting because we have the Atlanta Braves, who are obviously going to check in an extreme chalk on today's slate, 10.5 implied runs, a lean on the over, facing Luis Severino and the Yankees there. Those are the 2 games we have over 10 implied runs. Seattle, KC sits at 9.5, some places 9. Oakland and St. Louis sits at 9.5, even though heavy lean on the under there. And that's really it. Those are the notable games that we have on this slate. Everything else sits somewhere between 8 and 9 implied runs. And Mark, hopefully I talk slow enough for you. And I'm sorry that you're hurt. But we're hurt that we have to talk about pitching. So
that's true.
Evens out.
That's true. And he did ask about our guy all the way down here, which we'll touch upon, Ernie Hancock from this morning's podcast. Of course, that is Emerson Hancock here at $5,500 because this pitching is so bad, we may be looking to spend down. But we'll talk about the starting pitchers that are spend upworthy here today. There aren't many of them. You do have Zach Wheeler against Toronto, as inconsistent as Toronto has been this season. He's $11,600 though. You have Jordan Montgomery at home against the Angels at $11,000. You have Giolito at 10.7 and Ober at 10.2. And you just heard us talk about how we're going against Ober and Giolito for our DFS pick'em plays. So gotta think that we're more likely to trend towards maybe Wheeler if you look to spend up. But we talked about it on the show. I don't want to pay for any 4 of these pitchers.
You know what Des Bryant used to do, John?
I don't.
He would throw up the X.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. I'm Xing out this entire top tier of pitching. Because why in the world would we ever want to spend 11.6 for Zach Wheeler? Why are we spending $11,000 for Jordan Montgomery? We've talked about Jordan Montgomery being less than $8,000 like all season long. And he was 10,000 in his Oakland start. What did he do with 14.7 DraftKings points well enough to get him a $1,000 bump? He went from just in a 3-start span, 81, 10,000, 11,000. Not really averaging 17 fantasy points over that span. So not getting there. You mentioned the numbers for Giolito. You've been mentioning the numbers for Giolito since
the trade. Since the trade happened, I was like,
I probably pre-trade.
I was like, his xFIP and FIP are like 4.5. This isn't going to end well, and he's been just terrible since. So,
and then Bailey Ober, I alluded to it during the pick'em or during our RT Sports read, and you talked about how you like the Tigers team total. I mean, Ober was really good earlier in the year, and that seems to be Ober now. And he's allowed 11 hits, 6 hits, 11 hits in his last 3 starts. The strikeouts were there against Detroit, and I think that's something that could potentially still be there. And that's why he is of the 4, I should say, getting the most ownership. But it's not it's 17%.
Mark wanted to know if any pitcher in this group was getting 20% or more. So
no, 17 for Ober, 14 Montgomery, 14 Wheeler, and Giolito's not being rostered.
Rightfully so.
So I mean, and we just move on. And if anyone paid attention to the MLB DFS podcast over on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube and Better Sports YouTube channels this morning, the 2 pitchers that we built with, John, were Yusei Kikuchi and Nick Pivetta. They are the 2 most popular pitchers heading into tonight's slate at 29 and 23%. Yeah. Just for perspective, nobody knows what to do on tonight's slate.
And you know what's terrifying about the Yusei Kikuchi play here is actually Philly's numbers against lefties. Last 30 days, they are 5th in WOBA at 362. Their 198 ISO is 7th best. They only have a almost 13% walk rate. Now they do have a near 25% strikeout rate. So maybe if Yusei can miss bats, that's fine. But they're getting on base. They're hitting for power. They're 5th in OPS. Batting average, they're 12th. So last month, the lefties against the Phillies have not fared very well. So 242 ISO against Southpaws over the last 2 weeks. If I like Kikuchi because you looked at his recent production here, guy hasn't allowed more than an earned run in 5 starts. Now, I know sometimes these numbers against lefties can be skewed because if they're just facing Patrick Corbin for a week, they're going to mash. So, maybe Kikuchi is just the best lefty they'll have the pleasure of facing here, and he shuts them down. I'm going to still have some exposure, but my initial 3 max lineup was 2 Kikuchis, and now I think I'm down to 1. So,
yeah, I mean, I get why you'd want to get to Kikuchi because he's been. I mean, you look at the list of what we have. He's probably been the best of all of them. He's had arguably the most strikeout upside. But he is in an incredibly tough matchup against an offense that's really hot against one thing specific, and it's left-handed pitching. So I get why the field is getting there. I get why you'd want to get there. I agree. I'd be way less than the field, 23% rostered for Yusei Kikuchi. If I was playing a 20 max, I would probably be half that. Yeah. I'd probably be around 10. I'd probably be around 10%.
I feel the same way. Honestly, this pitching, we talk about it all the time. There are slates where there are just landmines, and this is 13 games worth of throw your hands up and shrug. Maybe yep. This guy can get me 5 innings of 3 earned baseball with 7 strikeouts, and his team gets him a win. So he gets 16 fantasy points in that's enough, right? But it's ugly. It's ugly.
It is ugly indeed. What else? What else in this mid tier? If we're not going to Kikuchi,
I mean, I think we're all in agreement on Pavetta tonight, even though that game is actually the only one with a weather potential issue. If you go read the weather report, it's Washington. There's rain moving up the East Coast here. It seems like, I guess, most of the worst weather is expected to clear ahead of game time, but there could be some games that show up over the ballpark. And if that happens at the right point, they go into a longer delay and Pavetta pitches 3 innings and it's a bullpen game. Like, always a risk there. Pittsburgh, New York, again, another game that has some potential weather impact to it, but we weren't really looking at that game. So, I initially last night, and I'll give a little tip of a hat to you. You mentioned it, and I kind of poo-pooed it, but Dan Silverdidio kind of doubled down during the Better Sports Betting Show. He likes Jack Flaherty tonight, $8,400 going against the Padres. He took his over strikeout prop. He gave some numbers the Padres against right-handed pitching over the last month, and they're middle of the pack to worse in a lot of categories here. Name value, you're terrified. Tatis, Machado, Soto, like those guys Xander, those guys can all do damage, but they're just not. Soto is, but nobody else really is. And if the strikeout potential is here for Flaherty, 8 Ks in back-to-back starts, then I'm willing to give him a run at $8,400.
Yeah, I think it's one of like the few pitchers on the slate that's like, you look at it like price and you're like, yeah, I could see myself getting to some Jack Flaherty now. On FanDuel, he's 9,600. And, DePrince brings up favorite FanDuel pitcher. I wouldn't get to Flaherty on FanDuel at 96. I would definitely get to him at 84. I think in terms of favorite FanDuel pitcher, I would say it's probably Pavetta at $8,500. I really like Pavetta tonight. He's 7,800 on DraftKings as well. And I know Washington doesn't strike out all that much, but Pavetta has shown like pretty elite strikeout upside. I mean, 3 times in his last 6 outings, he's had 8 or more strikeouts, including a 10 and a 13 strikeout game. So I like Pavetta quite a bit. And if I'm spending down at pitcher, John, I want to get your take on this. On FanDuel, and he's cheap on DraftKings too. And I told you this right before we hopped on because you and I didn't really like the rest of the position anyway.
Yeah.
And it's not Ernie Hancock, but I kind of like Dakota Hudson at $5,800 on DraftKings. And over on FanDuel, he's $6,400. And we're talking about a slate that, has Coors Field, which is incredibly popular. Just looking at the ownership, they are 3x the field pretty much on ownership. Once again, they have wait for it, 7.4 implied team total tonight for Arizona. And again, I when we were reading the Vegas odds, there was a lean on the over in that game of 12.5 runs. And there's the Atlanta Braves, by the way. So I kind of like Dakota Hudson 6,400 on FanDuel if you're spending down, and I like him a little bit on DraftKings at 58 against Oakland.
Yeah, on FanDuel, I'd be okay going Jordan Montgomery. He's only $9,800. Numbers for lefties against the Angels here. Again, sample size wise, it's the last 2 weeks, but 26 in weighted on base percentage, a 28.6% strikeout rate, just a 150 ISO, a 169 batting average against Southpaws the last 2 weeks for the Angels here. If you want to go, just sort of expand that over the last month, the numbers, again, not like much better, 230 batting average. The ISO number is a little bit better, but still almost a 26% strikeout rate. So, $9,800 for Montgomery on FanDuel is a lot better than $11K on DraftKings. So I don't mind going Montgomery or Flaherty on FanDuel tonight, given with their price, $98, $96. Pavetta for sure at $8,500 is in play for me here. And then, as you mentioned, going down to Dakota Hudson, maybe a little bit interesting for sure against Oakland there.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of the FanDuel pricing for Flaherty.
Okay.
I don't like that price. Okay. I like the 84 much more.
Sure. I will say the difference of pricing here, Lucas Giolito on FanDuel is $8,600 compared to DraftKings, where they have them, $11K, so, or 10.6, wherever it is. So, I believe that one a little bit more as well. Where are you on Bobby Miller going up against Milwaukee?
I don't know. Like we talked about it last night. We were like kind of interested in Miller, but what is the upside at 9,300? Are we just okay with like 16 to 18
I think
fantasy
so.
points? Is that
I think
is
tonight.
that where like, I feel like at that point, I might just play Kikuchi for upside or Flaherty for strikeout
Sure.
upside. Because, like, even Miller, who got off to such an amazing start, I mean, look at the like 4, 3, 6, 6, 5. He had a 7 strikeout game against Pittsburgh, but like he just hasn't missed a
His
lot of
win
bats
equity though is
where
huge.
his win equity is as good as anybody.
Last 30 days, Milwaukee 25th in net WOBA against right-handed pitching. 129 team ISO is second to last, only to the Giants. Not a big strikeout team, only 20% strikeouts against right-handed pitching. But batting average wise, they sit 20th. So again, a lot of bad numbers against right-handed pitching for them over the last month outside of the strikeout number. But if that means that Miller goes 6, gives up 2, strikes out 4, and gets a win, that's 17 or 18 fantasy points. So
Yeah, just and I know I should probably alter my line of thinking on this slate specifically because like 17 could be
yeah,
enough, but
this
like at
isn't a slate where
9,300s,
Scherzer can give you 40, right? Like
yeah,
Wheeler has the most upside probably of anybody on the slate, but you're paying the premium for him. So
he has to have a ceiling
yeah,
to reach his to get value at
hmm
almost 12K.
yeah. I mean,
I don't disagree. I just like I look at it from like I would rather just take shots on cheaper guys who can get me 17 fantasy points so I can guarantee myself Braves or guarantee myself
but who is
Diamondbacks
that? But like
because
less of a guarantee of a win on some of those guys that are down below though. So like,
sure, but I can get 17 from Flaherty without a win. He
yeah,
got 15 last start.
sure,
I can get 17 from Pavetta without a win
yeah, because the
with strikeout
strikeouts,
upside.
yeah, yep,
I could probably I probably need a win for Dakota Hudson, but we just saw that he has 24 fantasy points in the bag, 2 starts ago
sure.
with a win. So like I would rather just take shots on those guys, maybe even Ernie Hancock with like better weather tonight. There's not a jillion mile an
Yeah, I
hour
don't
winds
know.
blowing out.
I mean, yes, Kansas City has been an absolute monster though.
Yeah, they've been good.
Fourth highest weighted on base percentage the last 30 days against righties. 207 ISO against righties. Only a 19% strikeout rate during that stretch.
It's fair.
So that's a you got to fade the noise on that one.
Well, it's just yeah. I mean, it's just again like that's just getting to a guy at 5,500 because there's not a lot of other options. Like the field is getting to David Peterson tonight at 19%. I
Sure.
don't want to play David
No.
Peterson tonight. There's weather. It's David Peterson. He threw 62 pitches in his last outing. Like, is he going to throw 70 here? Like, that's not a comfortable play.
Yeah.
So, Kyle Hendricks is getting some ownership. I know you like Kyle Hendricks a lot. So, I don't know. There's like a few spots that the field's getting to that I'd rather just like take a punt on Hancock.
Sure. Okay. Again, I think it's going to be pretty interesting the way we go at pitching tonight. And usually, it feels like we locked in on guys. The only one I think that we're in agreement as like locked in step for is Pavetta, right? That
Yep.
and again, sadly, that's a game that like might have rain. So it's unfortunate here, but it's going to be a different way to go. Just quickly, just like state your pitcher pool tonight. Who are your playable starters, and I'll give mine after yours.
Flaherty, DraftKings specific,
Sure.
Pavetta both sites, Dakota Hudson both sites, Ernie, aka Emerson Hancock both sites, and I will give. Yeah, that's it. I'm limiting myself to those like 5 pitchers.
Okay. I would consider Wheeler because there's nobody playing Wheeler tonight as an option for DraftKings. Not a core play of mine, but like a one-off play. I would get a Kikuchi play in there. Miller, Flaherty, and Pivetta, I think, is probably the cheapest I go. Wind is blowing in Chicago tonight, so I don't know how you feel about Kyle Hendricks in that spot, but he's been bad at home, but the wind's blowing in. I don't know. I just don't think I'm going to get much cheaper. I hear you on the Hudson. I guess it is Oakland, so there's always that chance for him there. So pitching, it's going to be all about hitting, I think, here tonight. We'll see which one breaks the slate for everybody.
Who's throwing the perfect game? Who's throwing the perfect game tonight, John?
Bailey Falter.
Bailey Falter.
Why not? Let's go over to catcher. Obviously, we struggled to find pitching, so there's got to be hitters that we're in on here tonight. Can we just blanket statement say all Rangers, all Braves are in, and we just kind of pick others, or how do you want to go about?
And all Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
because Diamondbacks are
even though last night that
on.
really killed us. They only scored 4. So
no, I know, but they also now have a 7.4 implied team total. That is, and Gabriel Moreno is the only catcher being rostered.
Yeah,
tonight.
well,
the only one. Nobody is playing anyone else. It's just Gabriel.
Where's he at price wise tonight?
25.
Still 25. Yeah, free. Sitting 7th. Tie block.
He hit lefties before the injury.
I mean, I'm just gonna click to put him in because why not? But if we aren't going there, I mean, Garver hitting 5th still. They're not even playing Jonah Heim. They're just keep on plugging Garver in there. So, Heim's hitting 6th. Perfect.
Yeah, they're both.
Yeah, can play Jonah Heim tonight at 38 if you wanted to. Garver's 34, so probably go Garver over Heim, but it's a better spot probably for Heim. Where else are you going?
I mean, if you do want to spend up on someone, Real Muto hits lefties well against Kikuchi. You can play Salvi Perez at 44. He's been really good. You've been talking about the Royals quite a bit. So I think those two over 4K. Ryan Jeffers has obviously just been insane for the last month or so. If you want to get to Ryan Jeffers, you can. That's probably it. I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel at catcher. Moreno has a 400 WOBA against left-handed pitching this year at 2,500, and the Braves are incredibly expensive outside of Nicky Lopez, and so are the Diamondbacks. So it makes it so much easier. This is a position I'm just plugging chalk in and moving.
Yeah. Quickly just moving back to catcher here, pitcher, because we did talk a little bit about Little on the podcast. Sean tuning in here wants to know about Little. 5.7K on FanDuel. If there was a spot to play Little, FanDuel could be that the Giants against right-handed pitching. You want to talk about a team that has been dreadful. Last 30 days, they are dead last in WOBA, 275. Isolated power number, they are dead last at 127. Batting average, they are dead last at 205. They have a 24% strikeout rate. They do have a 10% walk rate, but literally dead last in all the categories we care about when it comes to offense against right-handed pitching are the Giants. So thoughts on Little here on Tampa Bay?
I mean, Little doesn't walk anyone. So whatever edge San Francisco had, they don't have. They have little to none here, John.
Snap.
So I liked him this morning. I think he's viable. He's another guy that can get you 17 fantasy points. There's going to be a pitch limit pretty much every time out. That's our boy S. Penny there.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to S. Penny. But, I mean, he's been getting deep into games. Back-to-back 6 innings in 5+ in 3 straight starts. He obviously is getting more stretched out now that he's being used as a traditional starter. So, I like him. There's, not a lot of strikeout appeal, obviously. Right. He's does not miss a lot of bats. So if you want to, but I said the same. I like Dakota Hudson, who doesn't miss a lot of bats. So. Yeah.
I mean, my issue, I guess, here is also Tampa Bay's offense is been equally as bad. We're going to see a bullpen game here with San Francisco where they have, what do they got? Minaya as their long man tonight. We obviously know that one of the best left-handed hitters in that Rays lineup isn't there anymore with Wanderer gone. So, and Rays against lefties, as I mentioned, as bad as the Giants are against righties, Tampa Bay, dead last in batting average over the last 30 days against left-handed pitching. Tampa Bay's third to last in WOBA against left-handed pitching during that stretch. 126 ISO is the fifth worst ISO against left-handed pitching. So take the under in that game, but maybe that plays towards little here a little bit more. So if you want to go there as a punt play on FanDuel tonight because you're looking to double spend, probably using a 5-7 a pitcher, you can play all the Braves and Rangers your heart desires probably over on FanDuel here tonight. Would it shock you if you built the DraftKings lineup tonight with like Little and Hudson? Right?
No.
Right? Like I think it's probably something in play there. So we'll see. I agree with you on your.
Do you think people get tripped up by Little wearing a Giants hat pitching against the Giants?
They could.
He's wearing a Giants hat in his picture. Just throwing it out.
Didn't even
throw it out there.
Didn't even notice.
But
that's a little thing. Did you mention Cal Raleigh against Lyles? Did I miss that call or no?
No, I didn't. No, I did, but that's a good call.
I like the Lyles homer potential there in that spot. But just plugging Moreno for the sake of value at 2,500, I think is where I'm going to end up finding myself here. Any other catchers?
No.
All right. First base. Hard to not just plug the Braves. Olsen against Severino. There are obviously other options. It's a big slate. Nathaniel Lowe's hitting third. I like that as well. Candelario against Toussaint. I'm a big Candelario guy. Casas, it's Gray. I mean, there are value plays. But there is an elite play in Matt Olson going up against Luis Severino. So find the money to make it work. It's kind of how I approach it. Christian Walker did homer last night. We had him in our lineups. Got another lefty here in Ty Block, so could go Arizona, 5,400. Pete Alonso gets a lefty and Bailey Falter, $5,300. We know the power that he possesses, but tried and true. Matt Olson for me, every day, all day. Where is the rostership going tonight?
Christian Walker.
Okay.
I mean, it's just going to Arizona.
Sure.
Olsen's second. But it's going to Walker. And this is a slate you can spend up at first. Like the three highest owned first baseman are Walker, Olsen, Freeman. Like everyone's just spending up at first. And it's a great position to spend up on. You mentioned there's other options, but I think we talk about opportunity costs all the time. It's just one of those positions.
Yep.
Like spend up, whether it's Freeman, whether it's Olsen, whether it's Walker. I don't think there's a wrong answer.
No, I agree with you. Like I mentioned in the mid-tier, I do like Nathaniel Lowe here at 46, Casas at 43. Again, I'm not in on Ober, so I think Torque at 42 could be something. What else are you looking at first base? That's it?
I mean, can you play someone down here? Sure. Do I want to? Joey Gallo's been amazing lately. Do I want to play Joey Gallo over and miss the opportunity for Matt Olson, who's hitting 500 over his last 10 games and is facing the guy who said he feels like the worst pitcher in baseball? No, I don't want to not target that guy. So you could play Salvi, you could play Casas, you could play Torkelson, as you mentioned. You could play either, to be contrarian, you can play Yuliheros Montero, who actually has hit a couple home runs lately. They have a 6 implied run total tonight. So you can do all that, but is it throwing money away? Maybe.
Could be. I agree with you. Moving on over to second base here. I think there's an obvious play, but we have some guys up at the top that we can certainly go to. Simeon and Marte, 6K, 5,800. Great spots, both lead off, great pitching matchups to attack here. Mid-tier options for you. Justin Turner has been on fire lately. Second base only, Justin Turner, for whatever reason, but sure. Story coming off of the 4-hit game for him there. Where else are you looking at second?
I mean, if you're not playing Dakota Hudson, he's going to have problems with Zach Galoff, who continues to be a big baller.
Right.
Cover boy of Justin Vreeland's playbook the other day, double dongs, had another 1-for-5 double, run scored, RBI. He just puts up numbers. He has big numbers against righties this year. 456 ISO, 477 WOBA. Monstrous numbers. Mm-hmm. And Dakota Hudson, has struggled more with righties. If there's something specific he's been worse against 184 ISO, 355 WOBA against right-handed bats. And that's not terrible for us because four of the top six, it's actually split. Three of the top six are righties, three of the top six are lefties. But I would one off Geloff here for sure at $4,600.
Okay. For me, when I mentioned like obvious play, it's because we're trying to find money to spend up here. And Buddy Kennedy in cores hitting 6 tonight against Ty Block is where I wanted to go. Again, made his debut, went over 3, got a walk. Not going to hold it against him. He's hitting really well at AAA. One of the better prospects in the Diamondback system here. Again, just trying to find cheap value. I think obviously Michael Massey, a guy that you and I have just been hammering slate after slate after slate after slate. Another 2 hits last night, going up against Hancock here. I think both of those guys for some value could find themselves into some lineups tonight. But when I was building and playing around tonight, like Kennedy was just my immediate push, hitting 6th against the in course tonight.
Yeah, it's a good play. He's really cheap, good numbers in the minors. No problems getting there. I mean, I do like Massey. I also like Brennan Rodgers at 3,300. He finally had a kind of a good game. I mean, that was his first good game since returning, 2 for 4, double, 2 ribbies yesterday. So, he starts with the lefty and then faces Ben Jarvis Green Ellis out of the bullpen, who is supposed to be the long man. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis hasn't exactly been all that great. Now, granted, pitches in the PCL, it's not always fun, but last year as a starter in Double-A, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis allowed 27 home runs and pitched to an 8 ERA. So just for context, Double-A arm, and he's going to be the long man. So I do actually, we're in cores, and there's always one team that's ignored, right? It's always the home team, and I get it. I understand they stink, but like Rodgers is hitting 5th, coming off his best game, and they're facing a law firm tonight, and that law firm isn't a pitcher; he's a law firm, right? So
I was gonna say, for those of you, obviously you're making the joke about Bryce Jarvis here and Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. We have new viewers. I don't want them to I don't want them to tune in and think that we're mispronouncing his name on purpose. Now we're intentionally calling him Bryce Jarvis, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, because why not? Law firm, baby.
Law firm.
Yeah, he's gonna come out of the bullpen there. So yeah, like I said, we want to spend up at other spots. So I went value at second base here tonight. Can't plug him in there. I'm also kind of frozen here. Am I still alive here?
You are. Are you how are you doing?
Okay, here we go.
We're back.
Well, you know what happens when you open up Fangraphs, right?
Yes.
You open up Fangraphs, and all of a sudden your computer freezes with 35 tabs. So, anyways, I'm looking to spend down. I think Geloff was a good call. If you want to go Simeon and Marte, for sure, go up. Third base, talking about spots to spend up for. Yes. Austin Riley is here at $5,900. Rafi Devers against Gray at $53. Monty gets Hauser at $5K, which I kind of like here tonight. If you're not playing Kikuchi, Alec Boehm versus left-handed pitching here, really great spot for him. So there are some spots in the upper mid-tier to go at third base here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Riley is such a good play, so live for a home run. I mean, that's obvious. I'm not breaking any news there. 3 home runs his last 5 games. He's been incredible lately. Austin Riley's always been one of those dudes that if he's hot, like just play him because he's going to be live for a home run. So I definitely think he's in play. I haven't talked a lot of Boston. Josiah Gray's been relatively underrated this year. Definitely hasn't given up nearly as much power as he had in the years past. I mean, 370 ERA, good on him for a guy who allowed 40 home runs last year, just 16 this year. So I get it. Getting to Devers, he's been good. He's good against righties. I haven't gotten there that much in my lineups personally. Jorge Polanco, second, third base eligible, 4,400 leading off is interesting as well. Hard not to like Brian Hayes as well at $4,000.
Yeah.
Brian Hayes continues to just rake like every single night raking right now. I mean, we're in the stretch of 5 double-digit fantasy point games over his last 6 starts. He didn't start the Cincinnati game, so I won't fault him for his 0 for 1 there. But I like Brian Hayes quite a bit, 4,000 leading off. If you're playing any of that game, considering Roth said that's a postponement.
Yeah, I hear you. Going out for some value at the position here. I mean, again, you can play Kennedy there if you wanted to. Any obvious value plays at third base for you tonight?
You see who was elevated off the IL here, John? Hitting third tonight.
Royce Lewis?
It is Royce Lewis hitting third immediately. Just like goes on IL, 5 for 12 with 2 home runs in his rehab stint, hitting third.
I don't hate it.
I don't dislike that. So maybe some Royce Lewis and Buddy Kennedy, obviously, is very popular tonight. Yeah. You can play him at second or third. So, he's a good option.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. I was just pulling up Diamondbacks, just kind of seeing where they got these guys spotted out. So hitting 6 tonight's a good spot for him there. Moving on over to shortstop, Seager. Again, we talked about our DFS pick'em plays tonight. We loved his total bases. On the Better Sports Betting Show, my bet of the day was Corey Seager over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at plus 110. Going up against Giolito here. So I am all in on Seager. I am all in on Witt tonight. I think both of those guys are in for just some great production in their spots.
Not gonna disagree.
Hard to argue. I know. Hard to argue.
Not a lot there.
Yep, I'm with you. If you did want to go value, though, there's an obvious play as we roll down to the best hitter in baseball, Nicky Lopez at $2,500. Yes, he's hitting 9th, but you look at his last 2 starts, 7 for 10, 4 runs scored. He homered off of an infielder. He has 8 RBI. So, there's a ton of production here. He's hitting in front of Acuna, in front of Michael Harris, and all those guys at the top of the lineup going against Sevy. So, if you're trying to spend $6,800 for Ronald Acuna, a $2,500 shortstop will go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, and crazy, he has dual position eligibility too. If we really wanted to play him in the outfield, you could do that too. If you were gung ho on playing any of these. You're saying
everybody's on the Diamondbacks. Where are people coming in on the Rangers and the Braves tonight?
Braves are the 3rd highest team. Texas is nobody's really playing.
That is how is nobody playing Texas, but nobody playing Giolito?
I think it's one of those things that everybody is playing Arizona. A lot of people are using Seattle as their spend down pairing, and then mixing and matching Braves, Twins, Red Sox. The Cardinals have 5.9 implied runs tonight. And then Texas is 2.9%. Yeah. There's 26 teams. So I could see there's a couple scenarios. No one's playing the Mets, no one's playing Falter. No one's playing the Rays, but nobody's playing Minaya, So there's a couple of that same scenario just because it's so concentrated on Arizona and then Seattle, Atlanta, Minnesota.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting, and obviously that just means that I'm more in love with Texas than ever before. So I'm just sort of plugging guys in to see how much money we'll have left as we go across. I haven't entered any pitching yet, but with Moreno, Olsen, Kennedy, and Seager, we're around 5,300 a player with some pitching. We got some value, obviously. You mentioned Lopez can play outfield, so might as well just click a button there. Gives us 5,900, and we'll keep working on our way over. Any other shortstops to discuss, or you want to hit the outfield, man?
I mean, I like Lindor.
Sure.
We plugged him in. If that game plays, he's hit lefties extremely well his whole career. He's been good. Had a good day yesterday.
Sure.
He's 49. I'm not going to also – I mean, Trey Turner's been great against lefties lately. He's also just been great. 1,200 OPS his last 10 games.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. All right, talk the outfield again. Acuna is here. Ohtani, Judge. We talked about it on the show. You can play pretty much everybody up here, right? There's no one that you don't like except for maybe Tatis, but you can plug them all.
Yeah, whoever you want to play. You could literally Ohtani hits lefties as well as he hits righties, even if you wanted to play him.
Right.
By all means, do so. I mean, he has 41 home runs, and
trying to see how we can even get Ohtani in here. Building a lineup out. So you got Acuna Acuna rather.
Acuna.
6K. So we have 6K with a pitcher and an outfielder.
Yeah, it's Dakota Hudson.
Well, I was gonna say we could go MJ Melendez here, I guess. But we'll keep talking. We'll keep going down. So obviously these top guys are in play. Loving Acuna. Carroll, even though it's a lefty, he gets blocked here. I think he's hopefully due for a bounce back spot. Adolis against Giolito feels pretty good. Dancer Vididio had him as his home run call for tonight, plus 295 on the money line to go yard against Giolito this evening. So some guys up over 5K, I think we're both in on.
Yeah, I'll throw, just to add to the equation, I'll throw Bellinger in there, Julio Rodriguez, Luis Robert being back in the lineup is
Yeah.
interesting tonight against Kyle Hendricks. He talked about how bad Hendricks has been at home this year. And I'm not like really interested in playing White Sox, but Kyle Hendricks has struggled not only at home, just specifically with right-handed bats. 191 ISO, 333 WOBA. Luis Robert, 296 ISO against right-handed pitching.
Yeah. I agree with you there 100% for sure. Guys in the mid tier we talked about that we're big fans of here. Reynolds is better against lefties, right? That's the right split side for him.
No, he's better against righties.
I thought that started to flip, but I guess maybe you're right.
I think he's good. I think he's just 316 WOBA against lefty. Yeah, okay. He's just been better lately.
Okay. Michael Harris is 41. Again, they dropped his price from yesterday. You have Riley Green at 44, Newt Bar's 45 here. Duran hitting 8th at 41. Pham against a lefty at 42. So a really strong 4K group here.
Yeah, and Lourdes Gurriel 47 hitting 5th tonight in course.
Lourdes at 47 is pretty good as well. Going up there. Okay, you can kind of make a lineup as you work our way down. Carpenter's been super hot. If you wanted to go with him, Verdugo's leading off again. You've liked Tyler O'Neill lately. I know it's more against a righty, not a lefty, but some good guys in this under 4K range. I mentioned Melendez. That's because they dropped him under 3K, right? What did we talk about last night? He's like $2,900 saying 5th tonight. A guy that we've been riding a lot lately. So there's plenty of value tonight to get to where you need to go if you want to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps that we're not spending up on any of those pitchers. I think that's the main reason why, because, the offenses are in such good spots. Just to add a couple guys, Eli Jimenez, 3,600, just talked about the Hendricks splits. James Outman, $3,500. He's been on fire, 344 average, 2 home runs and 1,000 OPS over his last 10 games. We haven't talked much about the Dodgers tonight, but they do have a 5.5 implied total. They are facing Adrian Hauser, who struggled against both splits, but the lefties have really hit him hard. 179 ISO, 354 WOBA. And that's coming off a year where he did the exact same thing, but worse last year. So it's like 2-year sample now of him just not getting lefties out. So Outman stands out at 3,500 if he's going to continue to be, just this good. And I can say that for a litany of Dodgers outfielders. I mean, they're all cheap. David Peralta's 31, Hayward's 26. So all those Dodgers cheap outfielders are in play.
I like, again, playing 3 lineups, playing a couple of lineups tonight allows you to kind of expand your ownership across different quarter stacks. Put up a completed lineup here, James. I don't hate it. I know we're doing things a little backwards tonight, but I felt like this slate kind of called for it because, we didn't really know where to go with pitching here. So we're doing your Dakota Hudson play with Pivetta, where we're kind of just double middling and hoping that these guys come out with wins. You get your 3-man Arizona stack with Gurriel, Kennedy, and Moreno. You get Olsen, Acuna, Harris here. Hard to do better than the top of the Braves lineup against Severino here tonight. You're one-off in Corey Seager, and you got a one-off play of Michael Massey. No money left over. I mean, I feel like it's difficult to really do much better than that unless you're fading some of these Atlanta guys for how expensive they are. If you wanted to go down to Lindor, like you said, maybe you could spend up on Pivetta or Hudson and get somebody different. But again, I know this has been a little reverse for how we usually do the show, building the lineup at the end. But I felt like the way this slate was dictating itself, the build as we go here today, gives a little clarity on some thought process.
Yeah, I like it. And I like the way that that Arizona stack came together too. 5, 6, 7 is nice. The Braves, obviously, and I love Michael Harris hitting second again. That's amazing. Even if you wanted to really maneuver your lineup, not to say I'd move off Corey Seager because I'm obviously not against it. You could go all the way down to Nicky Lopez at short and manipulate it that way, right? And now you get your 4-pack Braves, and then you can pretty much do whatever you want with the rest of that money that you have.
You would spend a bit pitching, I would imagine, at that point.
Right.
You would grab somebody, not Dakota Hudson, at that point, probably, or go play Ketel Marte maybe at second.
I was thinking the Ketel Marte play was honestly where I was going, but you could do anything you wanted to do.
Right.
So.
Go Massey, or not Massey, Lopez at short. Do a little spelling. Lopez at short. Can we get there? Yeah, we can get there. Plenty of money.
We have
$1,000 left over if we went
and you still have
Marte
money
route here. So yeah, could get a little dangerous with it, depending on how you wanted to go. Right. I don't think there was a pitcher at 88 that we liked. Was there? Flaherty over Pivetta would be, I guess, an option. $6,800 gets us Little. Gillette or Little.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be Little.
It's
a little dangerous, but
yeah, just guys, just different ways to go about building lineups, man. So let's get to the. I like the fancy last night. We called it the Call of Fame. So let's keep the Call of Fame going here. Give me your home run call for the night.
Home run call. You go first because I know you're just going to say Madison. So
I'm not on the show. I actually did Ronald Acuna. Ronald Acuna was my home run call tonight over on the Better Sports Betting Show. Plus 370 to homer, plus 800 to be the first homer of the game. So if you don't think that the Yankees homer in the top of the first, if you think maybe Acuna leads off the Braves end with a homer, it's plus 800 to do so. So, I thought those were kind of interesting plays there.
How dare you disrespect the Yankees like that?
It's disrespect Severino. It's not disrespecting at all.
I know, but
Bryce Elder kind of blows. So
he has.
You could see Aaron Judge or stand and put one over the fence tonight.
I'll go a little different here. I'm gonna go. He's a little power surge. I'm gonna go Ezekiel Tovar. In Coors, 2 home runs in his last 3 games. 3 home runs over his last 10. I like him a lot tonight, and I told you I think Colorado is a little being a little disrespected tonight. I like Brendan Rodgers hitting 5th too, so I'm gonna go with Ezekiel Tovar as my home run call. A little off the board there.
Okay. Yeah, that is definitely off the board. What's the money on that? Do we know? Do you have the DraftKings spot?
No, I don't have. Because I'm gonna open up DraftKings Sportsbook.
That's true. I got it right here. Hold on. Tovar, you said? Tovar to homer on DraftKings Sportsbook tonight. I had the first homer props, not just the general homer props. Rockies, Tovar plus 550 to homer tonight. Ezekiel Tovar.
210 ISO against left-handed pitching this year. He gets the matchup against Mantiply to start. Mantiply 429 isolated power allowed to right.
Give me your favorite stack of the day. Non-Coors.
I mean,
Braves.
We don't need to say it. Yeah, we'll just.
We'll both be agreement in Braves, but I'm telling you, Rangers. I'm gonna have a lot of probably Rangers now if no one's playing them tonight. So
no one's playing. I'll update it for you. But this was an hour ago. The update. All right, 25 minute. I have an update as of 25 minutes ago. There are a few more people playing the Rangers. They are projected at like 3%.
I mean, you're gonna give me Corey Seager at 3% tonight? Like that? What we're doing? Like, sounds great. Sounds great. If man's hitting 380, you got a 400 ISO against righties. So I'm all in against that trash can Giolito. What's your value play of the day?
Value play of the day. I'll just stick with Gabe. You know what? I'm a pitcher guy for value play there. I'll go Dakota Hudson.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna go Buddy Kennedy again. I'm high on the kid here tonight against Colorado, hitting 6. So he's been a core play for me at second. Again, we kind of moved some things around it for this example here with the Arizona stack, getting him in at third. But I had him plugged in at second right away here this evening. So that's where I am going here. Guys, playbook is out. If you're not yet already a member of the Fantasy Storm family, go ahead and join. Go to fantasystorm.com/win. You can go sign up there today, get a 7-day free trial, get access to our fantasy football draft guide and our fantasy football cheat sheet when you sign up there as well. So no better time than now. Get into the free the premium Discord channels where James and I will be hanging out and answering questions there for everybody. Good luck tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, obviously breaking down the Wednesday slate. For now, though, we will talk to you guys later.